there and welcome. You're about to watch a Lakehead International live webinar. It is a great way to explore what Lakehead University is all about. In this session, you'll hear insights and stories from Lakehead professors, staff, and current students. While watching, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. For now, let's dive in.
So hello everyone and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're excited to walk you through what it's really like to live on campus and explore your dining options today. So my name is Hardika Nankar, and I'm the International Social Media Officer here at Lakehead University. I support our live events and digital experiences, and I am from the Thunder Bay campus. So residence is one of my favorite topics. Because where you live truly shapes you and your university experience. So I'm also joined today by our lovely guest from our residence services team, who bring real expertise and first-hand experience supporting students in housing. So I would like all of you to self-introduce yourself today. So we'll start with Michelle.
Thank you and welcome anyone who's joining us from wherever you are today. My name is Michelle Denton and I'm the Residence Area Coordinator here on the Thunder Bay campus. And I'm excited to talk to you about all of our housing options on the Thunder Bay campus and how you can really make Thunder Bay your home away from home. And I'll pass it over to my coworker, Tim.
Hello, my name is Tim Lade. I'm the Residence Area Coordinator on the Orillia campus. And I'm responsible for supporting and ensuring that all the students who choose Orillia as their Lakehead home are able to thrive and fulfill their potential.
Hey, I guess it's on to me. So my name is Maddie Temple. I'm the Administrative Coordinator for residents on the Orillia campus. Basically, I manage the application process from start to finish. So that means when someone applies, I process that, I do all of the billing, and I make sure that the building is kept safe and operable throughout the school year.
Thank you so much for your introductions, and I welcome all of you for today's session. So with that, let's just keep going and talk about the agenda. So here's what we'll cover today. So we'll be covering the benefits of living in residence, on-campus housing options in Thunder Bay and Orillia and Barrie STEM Hub. Also meal plans and dining options, residence life and student supports, and also how to apply for residence. So before we dive into residence, let's just zoom out for a moment and talk about choosing to study in Canada and what it means. So choosing to study in Canada means choosing a safe, welcoming, and diverse country. So Canada consistently ranks amongst the most peaceful countries in the world and is known for its quality of life and inclusivity. And it is also ranked top 10 greenest countries in the world. For international students, Canada also offers work opportunities. If you are studying full-time in a post-secondary program, you can work up to 24 hours per week during the academic term and full-time during your scheduled breaks. That means that you can earn while you learn and build Canadian work experience at the same time. After graduation, eligible programs qualify for the post-graduation work permit, which allows you to stay and work in Canada for up to 3 years. A Canadian degree can also support future permanent residency pathways if that's part of your long-term plan. We are located in Ontario, which is the most popular province for international students. So all public universities in Ontario go through rigorous quality assurance processes. So your degree is going to be globally recognized. Ontario's graduate employment rate is 94.1%. That's already strong. But at Lakehead University, our graduate employment rate is 96.4%. That speaks to the personalized education and also hands-on learning that the students receive here. And just a couple of quick ranking updates. So at Lakehead Universities, we combine class sizes with impactful research. So we have over 9,000 students, including 1,840 international students from more than 90 countries. So while we are a close-knit campus, we are also globally connected. Our student-to-professor ratio is 15:1 in Thunder Bay and 13:1 in Orillia. That means that you're going to get more interaction, more mentorship, and strong academic support. Now let's just shift into what campus life looks like, and starting with residence. So I will just give you a brief about the benefits of living on campus. So living on campus makes your transition a bit smoother. First is convenience. So most residence buildings in Thunder Bay are within 5 minutes of your academic classes, and Orillia it's even closer. Second, connection. So residence is where lifelong friendships begin. So you'll meet students from different regions, different programs, different backgrounds, countries. Third is leadership and job opportunities. You can become a residence assistant, a house president, or join any kind of committees that helps shape residents' life. Another aspect is the flexible meal plans that we'll be discussing in the future slides. And finally, safety. Our campuses are monitored 24/7 by campus security, and residence buildings have controlled access for that added peace of mind. Now, the next slides will be covered by Tim, who is our residence officer in Orillia. Tim, over to you.
Thank you. So we have one building and one style of living here on the Orillia campus. And as you can see from this photo, we have a very beautiful building with 6 different houses in it. And I'll take you through what the accommodations look like in the residence room and what you can expect from your experience on the Orillia campus. So this is what a standard unit looks like in our building. It's what's called a hybrid traditional room. So in that there's a meal plan and that there are common areas in your house, but that you wouldn't have a kitchen or any sort of living room experience in your individual bedroom. So you can see that you share a unit, a bathroom, with one other person. That's the only other person you share your common area space with, and that you have a double bed with a desk and your own private sink and your own private entrance to your unit, as well as more storage than I have ever seen in a residence room before. And then you will have, as I said, one roommate. We call them canmates here on the Orillia campus. And you each have your own private entrance to the bathroom, your own private entrance to the unit, and your own space. But you do share that full bath, which comes with quite a large vanity, a toilet, and a full tub and shower. A lot of residences I've lived in only have a shower stall, so it's great to have a tub and a ton of storage, which is really helpful if you're traveling internationally and bringing your whole life with you when you come to Orillia. And so this is what it looks like. The only difference would be that when you arrive, you would not have this bedding or these towels that you see on the counter, but you do receive everything else. It comes with all the furniture, the lamp, the fridge, the desk chair, the large bed, and then all of that storage. You can see the drawers there, the shelving for books or whatever else you may wish to display, and then a very large closet. And then directly across from the closet is your own personal vanity with mirror, sink, and some storage underneath there. And so this is the view. I took this picture 4 years ago from the top floor of the residence building over Thanksgiving. So you can see that the Orillia campus is surrounded by Ontario nature and beauty. And that's our hockey rink and basketball court during the summer. And you can see that the campus is absolutely stunning. It's right in the center of farmland. We're surrounded by cornfields and soy fields, and it is a beautiful space. It is really quiet in the evenings, and it is, once all the leaves turn in October, in the fall, it looks absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much, Tim, for that. So now Thunder Bay will be covered by Michelle. So over to you.
Thank you so much. Yes, on Thunder Bay, we have a couple different housing options, but the first one we're going to start with is our Bartley Residence that you see here on screen. So Bartley Residence is where our main desk is located for all of the residences that I talk about today. But Bartley Residence is our first year or new student dormitory style housing. So this is if you're coming straight from high school, you will be placed in our dormitory style housing in our Bartley Residence. In these buildings, we have these three-floored buildings that we call houses, and they really create that community in each of the houses with a house mascot and a house name. And it starts on orientation weekend where you start building that community for your home away from home. In addition to the rooms that I'm going to show you in a couple slides, in each of these houses, you also have a communal lounge area that kind of acts as like your house living room. There's a television in it. We run some house meetings and events in it. And that's that communal space that's outside of your bedroom to connect with your new friends in your house. Each of these houses has a laundry facility located in them. And also on the first floor, there's a study room. So you have two separate spaces, the lounge and the study room, to the bedrooms that I show you for studying or connecting with new friends. That's in addition to your personal bedroom. So let's take a look at the next slide and go through some of these bedroom options. So we have different size of rooms. You'll see on the right of this, there is what we call our Pretty Residence. It similarly looks to that Bartley, that brown brick building, but it is our female-only dormitory style. This is open not only to high school students, but also upper year students who wish to live in a dormitory style and are identify as female. So we have three different room sizes in Bartley Residence. We have our single room, which is an individual bedroom, and it's the largest of the three options. You'll see that's the one top left, and it has the two closets with the large window. We have our basic single room, which is a smaller individual bedroom, also still substantially large window. We don't quite have those red trees that you saw in Tim's amazing photo. We have a lot of birch trees in Thunder Bay, but these windows really allow that nature to come into your bedroom because we are also surrounded by Lake Tamlin and the forest. And then on the bottom photo, you'll see the Bartley double room. So if you are looking for a more cost-efficient, maybe save a little bit of money in your housing and you want to make a friend through your accommodations right away, we have a double room where you would have a roommate in your room. These options are a little bit more limited as the single rooms tend to be our favorite or more popular option for the students. So whichever room best fits your kind of lifestyle you're looking at having, that's where I would suggest that you apply for it. You'll see that in our rooms, we don't have sinks or washrooms. We have communal area washrooms and bathrooms located on each floor that students use, and those get cleaned regularly by our housekeepers, and then bedrooms are up for students to kind of maintain to their standards. So lots and lots of space, lots of storage space to bring your items, and really make it your own. So let's look at the next picture and you'll kind of see into that single room. So this is what our basic single, or our Bartley single, room is. This is our largest of the three options. Again, you see that big window, lots of space for hanging out with friends or having maybe a study session, and places to decorate with those bulletin boards and really make it your own. All of our residences, Thunder Bay and Orillia, we call them move-in ready. We know you're traveling from far and you're probably just bringing some suitcases with you, and we provide all those amenities for you to make it move-in ready. So your bed is there, you have a mini fridge, all of our rooms have mini fridge, and kind of those bigger furniture pieces, along with your internet, your Wi-Fi, all of that is included in it. So there's no hidden fees, there's no extra fees for residents. You're just kind of moving in, bringing your personal items, and then you're ready to start studying here on campus. Once you have finished your first year after high school, or maybe you're coming as a master's or a mature student, our next slide shows our apartments and townhouses. So our apartments and townhouses are more of our upper year students, the mature master's students, maybe your PhD student. And these are our 4-bedroom unit apartments or townhouses. So you would apply as an individual student. It's important to note that these are all students. We don't have family housing on our campuses, but you would have your individual bedroom and then you would share that kitchen and bathroom area. The biggest difference between our apartments and townhouses is the layout. You'll see the apartment is a 1-floor layout where everything is kind of located and connected to be located. So you have your bedrooms are off of your living room and then your kitchen there. And your townhouse, you'll see it split in two because it's a 2-floored townhouse. So you walk into your main floor, you have your communal spaces, so your kitchen and your living room, and then you would go upstairs to your bedrooms and your bathroom. These are for our upper year students. So if you're a first year international student from high school, this would be what you'd be looking at either if you're staying for the summer or you're staying for a second, third, and post years of study. Our next photo just has a nice picture of what we're talking about with the apartments. These are really great for students. I encourage the apartments for new international students who are not from high school. Apartments is what I would encourage if you are looking at building that communal lounge area, because like a Bartley or like a residence hall house, there is a lounge and laundry located on each floor. So we looked at Bartley and it was that 3-floored building as a house. Each of these floors is your house to create that community. And so it's a really great way as a mature upper year student to make connections if you're new to Lakehead and new to Thunder Bay. The next photo will give us a dive into the apartment layout. So this is just a little bit of that sneak peek, but you can see that how it is that 1-floor layout. That kitchen flooring then blends into our living room. All of our living rooms are provided with a television. And then behind this photo would be the bedrooms and the washrooms just located off. The townhouses for the next slide shows that 2-floored building. So this is what I was talking about of that biggest difference. So you're not going to get the same layout, different spacing, but you're also more of an individual unit. So you're not as communal and it's making you need to kind of connect with the programming happening instead of walking down the hallway to the programming that's happening. So townhouses are where our students in the summer, so if you're looking to study and you'd like to study throughout the summer or stay on campus in Thunder Bay throughout the summer, our townhouses is where our students this summer are located. And it is a great space, and we're going to take a look on the next photo to see how the living room and the brightness, and you'll see there's that sliding glass door, so windows are really big here. The nature is just beautiful, and we really try to capitalize on that with all of our residence buildings and the natural light. But this is that 1st floor, and then you see the stairs through that would lead you up to the 2nd floor to the bedrooms. So you get kind of that 2-floor separation in the townhouses, whereas the apartments, you're not getting that separation. And this is just a beautiful photo. I know we're going to transition over to Harnica, but I just love this picture. This is Atikokan, one of our residence buildings, and then the sunset. And if you were to take away this and put it in natural light, this is the bridge that goes across to athletics with the beautiful walking paths. But this sunset is just a perfect representation of Lakehead's beauty. This is where we've seen the Northern Lights is right on this like path walkway to the athletic facility. So Thunder Bay campus and the Orillia campus are just really beautiful to experience at any of the seasons. So with that, I'll just pass it back over.
Thank you, Michelle, for that information. And with that, I will just give a brief about our Georgian Green residence for Barrie. So the students who are going to Barrie, the living in Barrie is going to look a bit different. So for people studying at Barrie STEM Hub, your housing option will look a bit different, but still have everything that you need to feel at home. So students in Barrie typically live at the Georgian Green residence, which is an apartment style housing option. Each apartment has 6 private bedrooms, so you still get your own space while sharing common areas with other students. And it's only a short bus ride from the STEM Hub, so getting to class is going to be easy and quick. What you're seeing on screen is a rendering that shows the overall layout of a suite. We also include a virtual tour in the next few slides, and it's available on their website as well for you to explore later. So if you happen to be in the Barrie area during the summer, they also do offer in-person tours starting around mid-May. Those tours will give students a real life view of the space and also help you visualize what your home away from your home would look like in Barrie. Um, with that, I will just talk about what the amenities would be. So Georgian Green is going to be our primary residence partner for students studying at the Barrie campus, as I mentioned, and it provides purpose-built student housing, which is going to be very close to the campus. So we do offer a lot of amenities. Those are included here. Students living here, students living there would have utilities included. They will have this strong Wi-Fi or internet, ample storage, on-site cashless laundry facilities. They do have a basketball court for recreation and activity. Also, on-site management and support staff is there, CCTV monitoring for added safety and security. Everything is designed basically to make your student daily life convenient, secure, and connected. The location is also very closer to a lot of grocery stores, restaurants, movie theaters, certain drugstores, after our medical clinics, and the public bus stops. So students do not need to have access to a car. Basic necessities would be provided, like bus stops would be nearby within walking distance. So with that, let's just discuss about our meal plan options. So Michelle, I would, I'll give it back to you to discuss more in depth about Thunder Bay.
Perfect. Thank you. If you want to push it to the next slide, we'll kind of go through the meal plan options. So residence halls, and I already answered a question too, so I'll throw it in with this as well. We do have upper year residence halls options for students. It's just high school students are primarily in residence halls, so high school students applying will be placed in our residence hall. So I thought I'd clarify that because it kind of ties into our meal plans. Because dormitory style, so residence hall students are automatically enrolled in our meal plan as it's a mandatory meal plan for dormitory or residence hall students. It's an all you care to eat meal plan. It is open 7 days a week and it is a buffet style. There is nothing but a mass amount of options of food. There are steam tables, there's pizza, there is salads, there is a soup station, there's a rotating grill station, and it's all you care to eat throughout the day. So what that means is you can swipe in as many or as little times as you want for as much or as little food. So that's really nice to know in res halls that you're not worrying about groceries or cooking or kind of budgeting what that looks like for food options. The residence dining halls typically open till 7:30 p.m. And then after 7:30 p.m. in residence halls, we actually have what we call our Dan's Diner. So it's our after hours eatery. And that also works on your meal plan. And that's where that $800 declining balance comes from. So all our mandatory plans are unlimited residence cafeteria meals and an $800 declining balance that goes on your student card like a prepaid debit card. Dan's Diner is then open till about midnight, so you have access to food on campus Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. till midnight, and on weekends our residence cafeteria opens closer to around 10 a.m. until midnight as well. So food is not of scarce supply, and the biggest question is the food good? And I eat in the residence cafeteria every day, not because I have to, but because I want to, and the options there are just wonderful. You can kind of adapt things as you wish, and that tends to be one of the biggest concerns for students coming in is the food. So I'm going to put my email later in the chat, but if you have questions about it, maybe you have dietary restrictions or things like that, feel free to send me an email and we can kind of navigate what that looks like for you. Apartments and townhouses are not required to be on a meal plan, so it's not included in your fee. So when we look at the fees, the res halls is a larger fee because it includes your meal plan. Apartment and townhouse does not include your meal plan because you have your cooking facilities. That being said, students can add meal plans. So if you were to add declining balance, so our declining balance works at all of our Airmark food providers on campus. So we have a Starbucks on campus, we have a bento sushi, we have a bubble tea, and other places on main campus. So if you were going to use those, you can add declining balance onto your card and get a tax-free break with it. Or maybe you want a couple meals in the residence cafeteria and there's different meal plan options you can add on as a student, but it's not required and mandatory in the pricing. So those are kind of our two options. And then if I pass it over to Orillia, to Tim, and Tim will talk about Aurelia's meal plans that are a little bit different than Thunder Bay.
Hello again. Yes, we do have one dining hall on campus, and it works similar to the Thunder Bay campus in that it's all you can eat and that you can come into the dining hall 15 times a day if you want, because that meal plan does give you access to the whole dining hall experience. And when you come into our dining hall, you'll see that we have a servery. And you can go in and there's several stations. There's always the hotline, the salad bar, the bowl station, pizza, desserts, lots of different drink options. And then we also have two other concepts on campus. And so in our academic building, we have what's called Wolfie's Cafe. And Wolfie's Cafe is sort of like a coffee shop, cafe vibe. So coffee and different drinks like that, lots of pastries, sandwiches and soups. The sandwiches are made to order. And lots of different options. And that the kiosk is open, or Wolfie's is open just during the week, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday to Thursday, and then 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Fridays. And you would use your declining balance there if you wanted. And then also in the dining hall, we have the Den, which is a pub style experience. So burgers, chicken fingers, poutine, all sorts of things like that. And that's open Tuesday to Friday from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. And again, that's declining balance. And we only have one meal plan option in Orillia, and that's the 7-day meal plan. So Monday to Sunday, 7 days a week, the dining hall is open. During the week, that's from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And then on the weekends, 10:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So you could come into the dining hall 150 times a day if you wanted. There's no limit, and it is always all you can eat. So if there's a particular meal you really like and you want to come in and have that same meal several times a day, you're welcome to do that. On grilled cheese day, you will always find me in there having a couple different grilled cheeses throughout the day. So our meal plan is operated by a company named Dextera or Dana Hospitality, and they are a very locally Canadian driven business, and they are really great to work with and provide a really good meal plan experience for students. So you're going to get well-made food that's made in-house from scratch every day, and I'm there at least twice a day every day. So. And again, just as Michelle said, not because I have to, but because I enjoy being there and spending time with students in the dining hall. And we run a lot of programming or events in our dining hall as well. So Super Bowl night, our two formals, Leafs watch nights, that sort of thing. So the dining hall is sort of the hub of student life on our campus.
Wow, thank you, Tim and Michelle. All that food talk is making me hungry right now. So let's just quickly move on to the next part of our session, which is the Residence Live. So we do host a lot of social events, workshops, cultural celebrations, and academic support programming throughout the year. I would let Michelle talk about the next slides.
Perfect. Thank you. And Tim, you're welcome to jump in if you want to, because what's great is no matter if you're coming to the Orillia campus or the Thunder Bay campus, you're getting a very similar residence life experience because our residence life structure is the same. And I say similar because some programs we just can't do in Thunder Bay and they can do in Orillia, and vice versa. I know we talked programming a little bit and Tim mentioned a little bit, but the Orillia campus did some really cool trips to our medieval times down in Toronto, and in Thunder Bay we just had a ski hill trip to go tubing and skiing. So a little bit of differences with that, but our residence life structure for support and programming is very similar in the sense that our residence life team is made up of resident assistants and house presidents who are here to support and plan and programming and events for you. So our residence life team is kind of what makes that more of a home community support than the off-campus experience, right? Otherwise, without residence life, it is the same as an apartment building or a townhouse off campus, but residence life really helps create that community and create that support system for you here while you're studying. There's so much to learn being a student, and there's so much to learn coming to a new country that residence life acts as that middle support person for you and that go-to resource that lives in-house with you to provide information, maybe bring you to the support and resource that you need and go from there. So if we start with our house presidents are live-in positions that are also students. So it's a position you yourself could apply for while you're here on campus. And our house presidents, I kind of advertise them as that like social community builder, the fun aunt or uncle, if you will. And they plan events and programs to get students involved, not just on campus, but also in the greater city communities. So that Thunder Bay or Orillia community. House presidents oversee your activity fees. So living in residence, you pay an activity fee, and your house presidents make sure that that activity fee is being spent on activities that you want to do and you want to see happen. Um, it's a great way to get involved. It's also a great way for that bridge because it's more of that volunteer position for us out of the two positions. It's a great way to start getting that working experience too, to build that resume here while you're studying in Canada. Now, our resident assistance, which is our next slide, is more of our like safety and security support program here on campus. So if we click over to the resident assistant slide, Hartika, yeah, perfect, awesome. So our resident assistants are trained on a peer level for support. They are trained with some mental health training. They are first aid trained. They are trained to connect with campus partners. So if you're having academic concerns, or maybe you don't know how to navigate health and wellness, our resident assistants are able to help bring you to those supports and resources. And there's also a resident assistant on call 24/7. So between Tim, myself, and my coworker and our RAs, there's always someone on call on campus, which is really comforting when you're coming from so far away, knowing if it's whether it's 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. If you call campus security, you're getting residence life support for whatever you need. So our resident assistants are also live-in positions. So whether you're in a res hall house, an apartment floor, a townhouse community, or a floor on our Orillia campus, you have one house president and one resident assistant, so two students who are here to support you on your journey. And maybe that's then something you apply for and you work and live on campus as you study here at Thunder Bay or Orillia as well. In addition to kind of those safety security, they do rounds and support with health and safety. They also do some programming, but it's more of that student like educational programming. So maybe it's teaching you about dressing and bundling in our winter weather. We have an outdoor skating event here in Thunder Bay. We teach you how to bundle, put some mitts on, gloves, and we'll actually take you to a store where there's some affordable options if that's what you need. So that's kind of what our RAs are here for, and that's what really creates it more than just that house. It really makes it that home.
Thank you so much, Michelle. So now we'll be discussing about registering for residence. So there are two ways to apply for students to access application, which is website and my portal. So Michelle, I will let you discuss more in depth about how to apply going forward for a student.
Perfect. So you're going to be able to apply once you have accepted to be a student at Lakehead. I think that's the biggest thing is people get really excited. They've applied to Lakehead and they're like, well, I don't want to miss out on housing. I'm going to apply. You have to actually accept to be a student here at Lakehead. So you have to be accepted and then you have to confirm that to be able to apply for residence. Right now, our applications are also not currently open, so you have to wait a little bit until they open. So that's kind of the two steps before we get to this, and then you'll have your My Student information portal. So once you've accepted for Lakehead, you've paid to confirm, you are able to apply, you're going to connect on our landing page, you're going to go into your My Portal, and then you're going to be able to actually fill out the application. So you're looking on this page, you're looking at the on-campus residence. And then you'll see underneath it has a Thunder Bay or Orillia. That's where you're clicking to look to apply. The current residence is our link for students who are currently living on campus. So you're going to click the on-campus residence. You're going to go into You can go into the before you apply and read all about it, what you're looking for. As an international student, you are a new international student, you are looking for the international housing application. That's going to ensure that we are able to best process your application. And so if you think of remember anything from today, it's that you're applying as an international student on the application. So once you have done that, you're going to get to the next page and it's going to start filling out that information. So you're going to select your campus, Thunder Bay or Orillia campus, and then you're going to go through the process. In the application, if we keep scrolling through the slides, you'll see that there are preferences. So we ask a bunch of questions for some housing preferences. So once you've selected your campus, you're going to go to next, and then on the landing page, and then our next slide has that like building your character, building your profile, right? Your picture, your name, photo information, everything that we need to create that. It is important that the information for like a phone number is something that we would be able to connect with you on. That is in case we need to get a hold of you, maybe for emergencies or anything like that. That phone number needs to be something that we can reach you at. So that's something to think about when you're filling out this application. And then once you filled out the basics, it's going to take you to the next page, which is more personal details. So this is where you're putting your name and then also an emergency contact, which is also important that it's a phone number that an email that we can connect with in case of any emergencies. The personal details then continue on to the next page. Oh, I have a different slide. Just kidding. We are going right into requests and preferences. So once you've filled out and you've created your kind of person in your application, you are then going to go and continue to fill out your the next information. So you'll see on here it says how to apply, complete application, pay $250 down payment, and then your application will be reviewed. So now you're continuing to build that application. Accommodation requests and preferences are if you have any of those medical requests, maybe you are extremely tall. Our beds are kind of a standard size, but we do have some bed extensions that we can put in. That's kind of where it's information that we can help you out with. And if you are an exchange student on this webinar, or that is something that maybe you're talking to someone who is an exchange student, please make sure you're selecting that you are an exchange student so that we can also better filter your application for your housing options. When continuing on, we're just building all that information so we can best place you. So room types is your preference. So where you see this, it says place the room types in your preferred order. So it's going to go in a preferred order, not a guaranteed order. So if you're applying for a single room and by the time your application is in, we only have your second option, which is a basic single room, you will then be slotted into the basic single room. If you are applying and you're 18 or under and you select apartment or townhouses as your top options, you will be placed in a residence hall, as that is where we are better able to support our students who are 18 and under for programming for residence life support. And we've seen the best success for students in those housing options. And then it'll kind of continue to go on from there. So roommate preferences, very important for Thunder Bay and Orillia. Orillia, like Tim showed, it has that can mate situation where you are sharing that bathroom that connects the two. And that's where it's important to kind of really be honest with these questions. It's not, do I wish to live with a tidy person or do I wish to live with someone who likes it warmer? It's, am I a tidy person? And that's where that honesty kind of comes true. Because if you're selecting the way you wish you would like to be and it's not who you are, that might create some conflict later on in the academic year. So it's best to fill this out as honest as possible. And then these are kind of our basic options. You'll see for the Thunder Bay campus, it says I prefer to live in a quiet environment. We do have quiet houses, which just have longer periods of our quiet hours. All of our houses on campus, Thunder Bay and Orillia, have quiet hours. But in Thunder Bay, we have 2 houses that are designated to have longer quiet hours. So if you like a quieter house during the day to study, that might be an option that you select here. Continuing on, we then continue to get some of that important information. So food allergies and intolerances, that helps us with our food provider. That also helps us with our planning and programming. And if we see a major allergy and you're applying for an apartment or a townhouse, we might then also connect with you to be like, there's another apartment townhouse that has this allergy. Would you like to move over there? Or kind of start that support before you even came to campus. Um, Once you've filled out all of your preferences, you've kind of created that person for you in this application. So now it's time to read the housing contract. We reiterate this, it states it on here. I encourage you to read through the housing contract. At the bottom, you're going to click to agree, and that is you confirming that you have read the housing contract. It includes our community standards, what you're upholding. It includes the housing contract, that you're confirming that you're locking in for the 8th-month contract. It's not a short-term contract. So it's really important to read it through. Once you have clicked the I agree, it's like you signing to confirm it. And then you will get to our last landing page of the contract. This is where it has all those I read and understand. I approve that it is all true, and then you are agreeing to the terms and contracts, and then you can push submit. This is the application part of it. So now you have submitted your application. To confirm your application, you have to pay a $250 down payment after you have submitted your application. Sometimes this makes up students and they're like, well, I've applied. And then they might show up or they might ask where they're at in the housing, but they haven't paid. You are not confirmed that spot until you have paid the $250 down payment as a reserve of your room. It's a down payment of the total. It's not an additional. So the fee that you see for your room cost, the $250 is from that fee. But it is important to note that it is non-refundable. So if you have any visa issues or not able to come, this is a non-refundable $250 down payment to confirm your spot. So now you have filled out the form, you have submitted it, you have downloaded a copy for yourself, and you've paid the $250. Your next step is then to wait. You're going to wait. We're going to then communicate with you, let you know what that housing option looks like for you and the room selection, and we'll start communicating with you following that information.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for that. And with that, I'll just give a brief about how to apply for Barrie STEM Hub, our residence. So this is a quick virtual tour. While that is playing on the background, I will just let you know the steps. So the first step would be to apply online. I will just share the link below so you can get all the information that you require. You can just visit their website and click the Apply Now button tab in the top right corner. Once you have done that, you will complete the initial application form. And once submitted, you will receive the next steps directly via email. Then they would ask you to submit certain documents which are required or mandatory, like the residence housing agreement, pre-authorized payments for monthly payments, and also just certain housing agreements that needs to be completed and reviewed in the end. So the payment form is used only if you choose equal monthly payments for your residence fees. Now the step 3 is basically deposits and payments. So after they review and approve your housing agreement, you will be invited to submit your deposit. The deposit usually includes the first and last payment or equivalent. It will also include $40 mattress cover fee, parking fees if applicable, and any kind of optional activity fee for residence events. So the activity fee gives you access to residence events at a discounted or free rates. You also need to note that these events are separate from RA-led programming, such as special social events or large community events. So I'll just share the link in the chat below so that you can just go ahead and just view everything on your own and just do your own research. It will have all the information that you require. So yeah, that was all for Barrie STEM Hub and how to apply if you're a student who's going to be joining our Barrie team. With that, that concludes the overview of our residence options and application process. I do want to thank Paula, who has been answering a lot of questions behind the scenes. And I also want to thank our guests today, Michelle, Tim, and Maddie. who share their experiences and their expertise. So if you have any questions right now, you can, add it in the Q&A and we will be able to answer that for you. We do see that there are a lot of questions that are already there. So Michelle and Maddie, if you would like to, just pick a question and, answer them live, that would be great.
I saw some questions in the chat, and I know they're in the chat, so if you want to put them in the Q&A, that's a little easier to navigate. But I saw
Yeah.
some questions in the chat about applications, upper year applications opening, but there's not an international application open. Give it about a week or so. So right now we're actually having some technical difficulties accepting the down payment, so that we're waiting to open those new student applications until we're able to do that. And our support person is just off this week, so we're waiting for next week. So I would wait a week. It is not too late to wait a week as they haven't opened, so our spots are open, but I would wait until that international application button is open. And I know Maddie's actually like more of an expert for applications. So Maddie, if maybe you want to chime in a little bit about that.
Yeah, so as long as you apply by June 1st, you will be guaranteed a spot in residence. So there is still some time. I know that we want to get the ball rolling as trying to figure everything out for the fall. But no worries there. And we will be opening, like Michelle said, probably in the next week or so, just due to some technical difficulties. We've been put a little bit behind, but that's okay. I'm reading through some of the Q&A questions. One in particular for Orillia, asking about whether housing options accommodate tall people. Yes, we do. Our 7th floor actually has very, very high ceilings, and we have a lot of people that we will place up there due to height. So we can always accommodate people and do our absolute best at accommodating people for various different reasons, whether or not that's an accessibility need or something like height. So please feel free to reach out. I can drop my email as well into the chat so that everyone has it in case you do have any questions about the accommodations in general. I'm just trying to read through a couple other ones. So someone also asked about making payments for tuition and residency. So you can actually make your residence payments in the same manner that you would your tuition, and you do that through Pay My Tuition. If you look up on our website, just ways of payment, it should pop up. But again, if you have a specific question about that, I'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction. Just don't know a couple of the other ones.
I know a common question that we get, and I know I answered one in the chat, is about family housing. And unfortunately, we only have housing for students on campus. So if your partner or your spouse or your kids are coming, that is not something we accommodate, and as we just aren't structured for family housing. So something to think about, because when you're applying for your housing contract, you are locking in for the entire academic year, so the September to April. So if you're planning on having your kids or your spouse come at some point during that, they won't be able to move into residence, and you are locked into your housing contract. So that's just maybe something to think about with planning. Maybe they join you at the end, and then when you move out of residence, you can move in together. Or if you're open to having two places during it, but you won't be able to get out of your housing contract throughout the year for that as an accommodation. So just very important to think about. I know that's pretty popular with international students coming, particularly like master's students. And then we had a question about master's students or upper years in res halls again. So I just wanted to reiterate that. I know I said res halls is for first year students because it is for first year students. I think that's more the focus is like if you were applying as a first year or kind of that 18, 19, sometimes 17, 16-year-old students, like you're going to be placed in a residence hall. And then our upper year residence hall, so anyone who's 19 plus, mature masters, whatever that looks like, would just come down to availability on the Thunder Bay campus. And our all-female house in Preddy residence is a mixture. So we have kind of one section that's more for high school students or straight from high school students, and then one that's more for mature and upper year students.
Just got a question also regarding whether the resident payments are done monthly or yearly. So they're actually done in 2 installments. Typically it would be August 15th and then December 15th. And that's just how we do it. The $250 down payment, as Michelle mentioned, is part of that overall fee. That just will secure your spot upon accepting our offer.
I'm putting a link in the chat for our website for our residence rates page, and then you can kind of navigate it from there for some information about our rates for both the Thunder Bay and Orillia campus. And then if you kind of scroll through that new student on-campus residence tab, you'll see also how to pay, like Maddie's talked about, and just more information. All right, I'm just seeing, I'm gonna scroll through the chat to see. So if you have any more questions, please feel free.
Michelle, there is a question that I can see in the Q&A function, so it is redirected to you. It is basically, I would like to ask about housing options for incoming MC students like computer science having their programs at Barrie STEM Hub.
Yeah, I think you covered the Barrie
Yeah.
STEM Hub.
Okay.
Do you have information about
I mean,
the
I can take this question. So
Beautiful.
basically, we covered all the housing options in Barrie STEM Hub. It is basically we have a partner partner option, which is Georgian Green Residence. So I have shared the link in the chat. You can just go through it. There are steps to apply. Clearly mentioned in one of their landing pages. So just go through it and you'll have your options better. They have started their fall intake application, which is open right now. So you can, if you have gotten your study permit, you can just go get it early and apply as soon as possible. Okay. And a lot of questions are there about admission decisions. So I'll just, answer that if anyone has any questions for that. So undergraduate admission decisions will be made within a few weeks of you submitting your complete application. But if you have applied for a graduate program, please continue to check the status of your application in the portal, because we cannot give you an exact timeline right now about when you'll be able to hear an admission decision, but the portal will be updated for each of the application stage. So you'll get to know through the portal, and also keep an eye on your email.
I see a question. I don't know if you have another webinar that covers this, Hartika, but it's about the English proficiency examination. As requested in admission requirements, clarify that.
Yeah. So basically, the English proficiency requirement means that applicants whose first language is not English, they need to show proof that they can study in English. So this is usually done by a lot of different tests or academic results, which is like IELTS or TOEFL. So you need to make sure you check the website. I will just share a link to see if you have the exact minimum scores or any kind of exemptions that you may require depending on the program. So it's just best to check the program requirements and confirm with the admissions office directly.
I see a question in the chat, and it says, are there accommodations available for students with health challenges to prevent inconveniences? What I would encourage you is just to reach out directly to the campus you're looking at coming, and we'll help you on a one-on-one basis. So Maddie shared her email in the chat, and I've shared my email. So if you would like to be connected more about what that accommodation looks like, then we'll be able to help you on a one-to-one basis. That's one really great thing about Lakehead is you're really not a number like we in residence, but also like in your programs and on campus, we're able to help students on that one-to-one support level. So just send us an email, and also in your application, make sure you identify kind of what that is, and then we'll be able to navigate the support for you and what we can offer.
I'm going to chime in. So someone in the Q&A asked about meal plans specific to people with diabetes. So in the Orillia end, we have had students that were diabetic before, and the food service provider does their absolute best at accommodating students for special dietary requirements and needs and restrictions. As mentioned, we have had students that were diabetic in the past, and they were perfectly fine with the meal plan. Again, our food service provider, they're very approachable. They like to work with students. We are a small campus, so people do get to know one another, especially as you're visiting the cafeteria more than once a day. The food service provider really do get to know you. So as long as we have that information and kind of know what you're looking for and how we can best serve you, we will do our absolute best at doing that and have been successful at accommodating students in the past. So please feel free again to reach out to my email that I dropped in the chat, and I would be more than happy to start that discussion piece and get the ball rolling as to how we can accommodate you.
There is one more question in the chat about health challenges to help prevent any kind of inconveniences in the housing accommodations. Did we cover that or?
Yeah, that's the one I kind of touched on.
Yeah.
So, and kind of with the food thing that Maddie said, like just reach out to our emails directly and we'll be able to support whatever that accommodation or start that conversation to see what we can do for support. I do see we can have a couple repetitive questions, so I'll just answer it again for folks on the webinar of does that mean students have to seek housing independently for students looking to come with their families? And Hartika, do you do an off-campus webinar? I know I've been a part of some and where you connect with some options for off-campus, but on our residence webpage, we do have off-campus housing resources. So we are not an off-campus housing support where we go and check the houses and we go and validate the houses, but we do have kind of like a general search engine where landlords can post their accommodations that are available off campus on the residence webpage. So that's one less step for where you'd have to go to take a look at it. But then Hartika, if you have any information about more off-campus stuff you want to pitch here, that probably would be helpful for some of these folks with their questions.
Yeah, Michelle, thank you for that. So we do have planned an off-campus webinar as well, but it will be happening in May. So I would just suggest everyone to just keep an eye on our website. I'll just put a link where we put all our upcoming webinars so that you, as soon as it gets live, you can just apply for it and like register for it, and then you'll be able to join, get all the information that you require.
Awesome. I'm also linking the off-campus housing website from our residence page. Again, this is just a resource page where landlords can post their accommodations that are available off-campus, not something where we physically go to each of the accommodations. But it's a great start if you're looking for family housing.
I'm just going to hop in too. So someone had asked whether there's a transportation plan. So both both the Orillia and Thunder Bay have a U-Pass. So that basically offers unlimited access to the bus. And Orillia, where the bus picks you up is literally right outside of our residence building, and the bus comes every 30 minutes. Throughout the week, the last pickup is at 10:15 p.m. And then on the weekends, it's a little bit reduced. On Saturdays, 7:45 is the last pickup, and then 4:15. But we do have constant and consistent access to transportation. And Aurelia's not, we have like a population of around 35,000-ish. So our city is not ginormous and it's easy to get around. So you can get to downtown within 15 minutes, which is great.
There's a question about how much does a single room in residence cost? Is this price per semester and per academic year? So in the chat, and I can put it again, is the residence rates for both of our campuses. And like Maddie mentioned, we don't have, it's not a per like month per semester rate. You're paying your two installments on the 15th of August and December 15th for the entire academic year. So our contracts are an academic year contract. We don't do a September to December and then a January to April unless you're only studying for that time and that's what you're proving through your academic records. So if you're looking at coming for the academic year, you're looking at our residence rates. That's for moving in at the end of August and moving out at the end of April. The residence halls is that I call eat, play, stay. So it's the room, the food, and the food cost. And in Orillia, it's also the room and the food cost because the meal plan is included in it. For townhouses and apartments, it's just the room cost. And then the food would be very situational depending on your personal shopping and food choices. And that would be something that I'm sure Google would be a very great help for you to figure out. But I know that on campus it's all included in the residence hall. So if that helps with budgeting, I just put the link back in the chat for you.
Okay, there are two questions that I will answer, just being cognizant of the time. So if you have any questions, you can redirect it to all the email IDs that are provided by either Michelle or Maddie, or you can even email us at welcome@lakeheadu.ca and we'll be able to answer you that. So for the final questions, can I shift from Thunder Bay to Orillia campus in first year undergraduate studies? So yes, it may be possible, but it also depends on the program. So if you start on the Thunder Bay campus and you want to move to Orillia campus, you can request a program location change through your student portal, although approval needs to be provided from our team just to see if there is any space available in Orillia. So I would suggest just check with either you have to check with your program availability or get an approval from the student central. Next question is, this is a little bit off from accommodations, but I would like to know if after completing a 1-year course-based MSc at Lakehead, will such a person be still eligible for a 3-year PGWP, which is a post-graduation work permit? So yes, under the current IRCC rules, graduates of eligible master's program can receive up to 3-year PGWP, even if the master's program is just for 1 year. But I will still I will still keep an eye on all the IRCC updates and any kind of policies, because you never know what new policies might come up. So yeah. Okay. So I hope we have answered all of your questions. If not, you can anytime reach out to us. You can email us as provided in our chats. Okay. So I will just try to wrap up our session today. Thank you again for everyone who joined today, and thank you to Michelle, Tim, and Maddie for supporting the session, and Paula for supporting it behind the scenes. So you can stay connected with us on our social media channels. We are there on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under Lakehead International, wherein you can find any kind of updates. Just if you want to explore a campus further, you can just go ahead and get any kind of content required there. So thanks again for being here. We look forward to welcoming you to our campus someday, and see you in residence soon.
Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below. You can connect with us on social media. You can find us at Lakehead International on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We hope to see you in our next live webinar. Bye for now.